Was that Luffy's voice actor? Like, let's rewind now. Let's listen to this one more time. Was that Luffy's voice actor, or correction, voice actress? Like, listen closely. That is 100% Luffy's voice actress. And what's even funnier is that our main character here, Kin, is voice acted by Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. So, without context, and if someone wants to do a very devious meme edit, they theoretically could add Luffy's, like, character design added here, and he is talking to Tanjiro. That's literally a meme edit that theoretically could be created thanks to this scene, because these two voice actors are having an encounter and saying stuff that is as devious as this for this anime. Legitimately, Dandadan is built different. Legitimately is an anime that I have had my eyes on ever since it was announced. And hell, I remember reviewing Dandadan years ago before it really even was well known. And, you know, I'm going to be blunt with you. I am not caught up with Dandadan because when, you know, I heard it was getting an anime announcement, I ceased all reading of the manga because I wanted to, you know, go in completely as much as possible as an anime only. Now, there is obviously content I am aware of in the future, but the point I'm getting at is that Dandadan has always been a series that legitimately is unique. And FYI, giving some background information here, the actual writer of Dandadan was the assistant of Fujimoto, aka the author of Chainsaw Man. So, looking at the content that this episode has, and like what happens to our main male and also our main female character with the aliens, I think it kind of speaks for itself on just like how the assistant definitely got his unhinged nature potentially from Fujimoto. At the very least, a little bit of Fujimoto rubbed off on him. But anyways, Dandadan is finally here. The first episode has officially aired on Netflix, by the way. And, you know, I want to give credit where credit is due before I go any further. This first episode officially came out on the same day as Japan's release on Netflix with a subtitle. I am legitimately impressed. Now, obviously, this seems like basic stuff that should happen. But this is Netflix we're talking about. This is the same company that will have an entire series come out for a certain season. Like, let's just say, take an example in a different alternate reality. Dandadan didn't release today. For instance, Netflix picked it up, they subtitled it and everything, or were doing an English dub for it, and then the series was airing in Japan, but they didn't release the episodes week by week. They waited until like 2 seasons later to release the series in bulk. That's typically what Netflix likes to do with a lot of their shows. But for once, Netflix decided to take a step back, realize that their binge-watching release for anime is absolute dog shit, and actually wanted to release, you know, something proper like what anime fans actually want. And in this case, Dandadan Episode 1 and the following episodes will be coming out weekly on Netflix the same day as it releases in Japan. Like I said, I will give credit where credit is due. Netflix, I am proud of you. You finally learned after a decade. It took you long enough, but you're learning. I appreciate it. Now, with that out of the way, we do need to talk about briefly on just the quality of this episode. Okay, when I saw the preview a while back, I knew it was going to be good. Like, it was very clear that, like, there was a lot of indication with the way the actual, just the production of this, the colors, the voice actors, there was a lot of high-quality stuff put in to just this show. It was very clear that going in, the people behind this show that's working on it want this to become extremely popular. They want this series to blow up. They want this series to maybe reach the heights of JJK and Demon Slayer. That's at the very least the impression I get while watching this first episode, because every individual scene throughout this episode, there is just so much movement, so much life, and there is just so much unique, like, just movement of the characters. Like, I want to show this one scene, actually, when they're, like, going through the building. Like, look at the background movement with the character when she's shining the flashlight and stuff. There's a lot of little details here that could easily be lost from a first-time watcher not really looking for this, but there's so many details that is poured into these backgrounds while the characters are moving through them, with the lighting effects and just the way they use, like, just everything with the foreground and the background. I'm pretty impressed, honestly. And I think that the way they do the overall scene cuts as well, the transition scenes to, like, between Kin and, you know, other characters, is actually pretty impressive. So I do think that going in production-wise, the art style is huge. Like, I would dare say that this is probably the best first episode premiere in terms of just art quality. Like, this is the top 5 in terms of best art quality I've seen of this year. Like, in first episode premieres. This is good. Like, I would even probably put this in top 3, maybe even top 2. It is legitimately a jaw-dropping first episode. Now, one thing, too, I do want to discuss is the leaks. So, I feel like, unless you've been living under a rock, you've definitely heard about it. Dandadan's, like, first 6 or so episodes were leaked online about a month and a half, 2 months ago at this point. And I made videos talking about it, discussing, like, you know, the leaks. And I even said in those videos I wasn't going to watch Dandadan's leaks or anything like that, because I mean, they were like 240, 360p or whatever. They were not good quality, but theoretically you could watch like half of Dandadan through leaks, which was just a complete colossal failure from Netflix, which that's an L that Netflix deserves. That was just completely a huge L. And regardless if it wasn't fully their fault, it doesn't matter. They had the series, and the fact that it got leaked is just completely, it tarnished the potential of the series being even greater than it already could be. But it does seem, at least from the interaction I have seen today, that genuinely the overall community that is watching Dandadan, there's a lot of positivity around it, and I've seen a lot of conversation around it. I am curious, though, how many people, in terms of, like, watch the leaks to is now watching the official release. I am curious. I wish we had a number or statistic for that, but obviously I don't think we're ever going to get something like that, but I am legitimately curious. But yeah, I mean, I guess those that were able to hold off and not watch the leaks definitely was worth it, because this first episode legitimately is just, damn, man, it's probably going to be potential anime of the year. Like, if I'm not counting, like, ReZero, like, my bias towards ReZero, because I am heavily biased towards ReZero. I'm not even going to deny that. If I disregard my bias, I would say Dandadan has the highest potential for being the best anime of 2024. The only series that legitimately, I think, reached that level in terms of just enjoyment or just quality, and I know people are going to probably give me some flack for this one, is gushing over Magical Girls. That legitimately stellar series, not just because of the fan service, but just legitimately, it was a very high quality production of a show, and I think it took the internet by storm when it aired. But getting back onto Dandadan, though, let's talk about what it's about. So the first episode overall of Dandadan, it's pretty wacky. Like, it's about two characters that are from pretty much like two separate universes almost. It's like you have a story that is about sci-fi and aliens and all that, different planets and worlds, and then you have a story about the occult, or, you know, ghost, demons, devils, etc. It's like two stories merged together to form what Dandadan is. It's a very unique premise. And typically when it comes to a writer doing stuff like this, they have two paths they can go down. They can go down the sci-fi route or the supernatural route. And if they went down the sci-fi route, you know, it would have aliens, UFOs, different worlds and planets, very creepy creatures and stuff. And then if they wanted to go down the supernatural route, you would have like the occult, you would have devils and demons, you would have cursed objects. They're very fundamentally different. There is some similarities between them, but they're very difficult to mesh together, but somehow the author of Dandadan has managed to do that, and it shows the level of quality and of the author in general to be able to do something like that, because obviously there has been stories in the past that's tried to mesh sci-fi and supernatural together, but let's be blunt, most of them turn out to be just straight up booty cheeks. But it's clear that Dandadan is not that. It is actually very successful, very popular, doing very well in sales, and it's very clear that the team behind Dandadan's anime is very well aware of its potential and wants it to thrive as a series to potentially rival the greats in the last 10 years and become maybe the next big thing of anime. But all I'm going to say is, in general, Dandadan is better than I could have ever have imagined when I first heard he got an anime. When I saw the PV trailer, it did not do enough justice to how high quality this first episode is. It's crazy. No censorship, great voice acting, great color palette, great ambitious team behind it, understanding the vision of how Dandadan is literally built different, and even sprinkling in a nice side of romance. Even those that love romance will have something to fall in love with this series, because even from the very first chapter, it is building up into a very good way. It's not going to be a subplot that is mentioned briefly and pushed to the back burner till the end of the story. It is something going to be in the foreground alongside of everything else going on as well. It's a nice mixture of slice of life, the occult, and the sci-fi. And I think that is why Dandadan truly is going to make waves this anime season. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching, and, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe, leave a like on the video. I greatly appreciate it, and with that, Chibi out.